Should you refinance your student loans while you're still in residency? A lot of big refinancing companies think that that's probably a good thing for you to do, but I'm not so convinced. The reason is because of something called revised pay-as-you-earn and the fact that a lot of you don't know for sure what your future career paths are going to hold. It's pretty common for somebody to plan on doing private practice, maybe in their second or third year of training, and then get out and suddenly find themselves with a good offer from a hospital that happens to be a not-for-profit that pays almost like a private practice but still has 501c3 status. Another example would be someone who thinks that they have a passion for private practice, but then they don't get any private practice jobs. So naturally, you're going to take something that is available, which might happen to qualify for loan forgiveness. Because the benefit is so large for most people with med school loans over $100,000, refinancing is dangerous for that reason alone. However, in addition, even for somebody that's going for a private practice job in the future, that person might be better off sticking to revised pay-as-you-earn instead. Let's take a look at some numbers to see what I'm talking about. We're going to assume that someone has a $300,000 loan balance at a 7%. They're finishing up in 2018 for med school and they're getting a job. Let's just say, just to make the math easy, that the person's making $60,000 in training and we're just adjusting it for inflation. How about in 2021, this person decides that they're going to finally become an attending and they're going to have half the year as resident, half the year as an attending. So let's say that their income is $120,000. And then that income jumps to, let's say, $250,000 once they're finally an attending. Then it just goes up at the rate of inflation. Okay, let's take a look at, also let's just say for kicks that they're eligible for public service loan forgiveness potentially. Let's take a look at that analysis. Okay, well, looks like private refinancing might look to be a good deal. Obviously, public service loan forgiveness would be a lot better deal, saving hundreds of thousands of dollars compared with private refinancing. So, okay, let's just refinance right away and get maybe a 5.5% deal in residency and then refinance again to a 4.5%, right? Not so fast. Go to the calculations tab. Take a look at the annual interest charge on revised pay-as-you-earn. Notice that the annual interest charge is around $12,000, give or take. Compare that to the interest charge on something like private refinancing at a 4.5%. It's actually cheaper to go for revised pay-as-you-earn. That's with a 4.5% private refinancing deal. What about something that's like a typical 5.5% rate that I see with some of the private banks that are offering to refinance residents? Well, then the revised pay-as-you-earn number is about $12,000 plus $600, and the private refinancing interest charge is about $16,500. That's a $4,000 difference. Also, since you're not going to be making any payments until you leave training, then that means that interest charge is going to be about $16,500 than what I'm modeling here in the spreadsheet. So that difference is going to maintain itself for the duration of training. So in this case, even somebody who is pretty positive they're going to go private practice might benefit from staying in the revised pay-as-you-earn program. When might be a good time for you to pull the trigger if you're a private practice attending and you know that you're going to go that route? Perhaps in the final year of training, you sign an offer that you're going to go work at a private practice. What you can do is as soon as you sign that offer, you take that offer to one of the major lenders and you can get a deal based off of that that's going to be very low, probably much lower than the companies that are offering refinancing for residents. Who should refinance as resident? There's a couple instances. Maybe your partner makes a high income, so the subsidies that you could get on revised pay-as-you-earn really aren't that good. Another example might be somebody who's really afraid that interest rates are going to rise significantly and they are planning to pay back their debt maybe over a longer period of time, so they're afraid to give up the ability to lock in a 5-something when they think interest rates are going to be going way up by the time they get out of training. And I guess another reason might be somebody that just wants to lock in savings, and that's their main concern. They don't want to deal with the government programs. They're afraid of being on the federal system for whatever reason, and then they might do that. The biggest companies that do residency refinancing are Laurel Road and SoFi. There's some upstarts that are competing in this space as well. Most of the big lenders, once you have a contract in hand, will give you a really good rate based off of that. If you're refinancing med school loans or thinking about doing it, contact me, travis@studentloanplanner.com. I would love to give you my free thoughts on what I think the best deals out there for you would be. Just know that a lot of the blogs out there and stuff you're going to read that's going to say refinance your med school loans, it's not taking into account the full suite of options that you have. So just wanted to make that clear and hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks.